You're in an elevator with a stranger. 10 seconds pass. Nobody says a word. Your hand reaches for your phone before you even decide to move it. That itch you feel isn't random. It runs on instructions written long before phones, before cities, before words even existed in the form you use them now. Most people assume silence is just silence, but the real answer is far stranger. Your discomfort right now might be an alarm bell, one built by your ancestors, one that still rings, even though the danger it warned about is mostly gone. Today, awkward silence feels like a small social embarrassment, a few seconds you wish would end. But for most of human history, silence wasn't a minor annoyance. It was a warning sign that could decide who lived and who didn't. Go back 200,000 years. Small bands of early humans moved together across open grassland and forest edge. No more than a few dozen people in most groups. Survival depended on tight coordination. Who saw the lion first? Who knew where the water dried up last season? Who could be trusted to share food during a hard winter? In that world, sound was information. A rustle in the grass, a shout from a lookout, a constant low hum of chatter that meant, "I'm here, you're safe, nothing's wrong." Silence meant something had changed. Maybe a predator was near. Maybe someone had wandered off. Maybe a group had stopped trusting each other enough to talk. For a creature without claws, without great speed, without much defense beyond numbers, an unexplained silence could be the difference between waking up and not. So why does that ancient circuitry still fire when you're just standing in line at a coffee shop? The answer sits inside your brain's threat detection system. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger at UCLA found that social pain, the sting of rejection or awkward disconnection, activates some of the same brain regions as physical pain. Your brain doesn't fully separate. This conversation feels uncomfortable from something here might hurt me. To an ancient nervous system, social distance and physical danger were often treated as the same problem. Silence, especially unexpected silence between people, reads as a signal that connection has broken. And for a species that survived by sticking together, broken connection was never a small thing. Here's where it gets stranger. In 2014, psychologist Timothy Wilson at the University of Virginia ran an experiment that became famous for an uncomfortable reason. He asked people to sit alone in a room with nothing to do, just their own thoughts, for 15 minutes. Many participants disliked it so intensely that when given a choice, a notable number opted to give themselves a mild electric shock rather than sit through the quiet again. Read that twice. People chose pain over stillness. That single experiment suggests something most people never consider. Quiet itself can feel threatening, not just boring. There's more. Oxford anthropologist Robin Dunbar has spent decades studying why human brains grew so large compared to other primates. His research points to social bonding, not tool use or hunting, as the biggest driver. Talking, in his theory, replaced the physical grooming chimpanzees used to maintain trust within their groups. For humans, conversation became the social glue, which means going quiet doesn't just feel awkward. It can register, deep down, as a small break in the glue holding a relationship together. Babies show signs of this almost from birth. Studies on infant behavior find that when a caregiver suddenly stops responding mid-interaction, even very young infants show visible distress within seconds. Long before language develops, humans already expect a back-and-forth rhythm. Silence interrupts that rhythm, and the nervous system notices immediately. Researchers studying group meetings have found something just as telling. Most people will rush to fill any gap longer than 4 or 5 seconds, often with filler words that add no real information, just to escape the sensation of empty air. Modern life still runs on this old wiring, even though almost none of us face a real predator during an awkward pause. Think about job interviews. A few seconds of silence after a tough question can feel unbearable, even though nothing dangerous is actually happening. Think about first dates. A lull in conversation can spark a wave of anxiety that has nothing to do with the actual stakes of the evening. Think about phone calls. Many people talk faster and fill more space on a call than they would in person, partly because the absence of visual cues makes silence even harder to read. Even online, this shows up. Typing indicators, read receipts, the three dots that appear when someone is composing a reply, all exist because humans cannot stand not knowing what a pause means. Silence without context still gets treated like a possible threat. None of this means silence is something to fear. It means your discomfort has a long history, and once you understand it, the feeling itself becomes far less mysterious. The lion is gone. The grassland is gone. The version of your species that needed constant sound to survive is long gone too. But the wiring stayed. So the next time silence falls in an elevator, on a phone call, in the middle of a conversation that suddenly stalls, remember what is actually happening. You are not being impatient. You are not being awkward. You are hearing the echo of every ancestor who once needed noise to know they were safe.